Hey crypto lovers, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well and not freaking out too much despite the way the markets are going. I freak out too occasionally, don't worry, it's very normal. Today I'm back for a solo show. Because of that, we're going to talk about a topic that I am very passionate about, which is mining. No, not the kind where you need to use a shovel and a pickaxe, but the GPU kind. This episode was recorded on September 24th, 2021. Today we talk about what is crypto mining, how does it work, what do you need to do crypto mining? Is it still profitable? Those are some of the questions we get in today. Maybe you've been thinking about supplementing your income. Maybe you know someone who is a miner and you want to understand why they do what they do, or what do they do. This is the absolute perfect episode for you. After that, we have a look at the coin market cap to see how the markets are doing. We talk about Twitter allowing Bitcoin tips, Mark Cuban's latest DeFi comment, 21 shares is Ethereum magazine, NFT learning curve being too steep, and we end up talking about the altcoin surge that happened before today's episode. Thanks everyone for listening, and don't forget to tune in next week where we interview another member of the team, or maybe 2 or 3, and get their insights into the fascinating world that we live in called cryptocurrency. Evening, morning, and afternoon, everyone, wherever you are and whatever you are doing. I'm glad you are here with me and listening to the Inside Crypto podcast. This is the best place for news, interviews, and education about the crypto universe. Today, we are going to be talking about... Do you hear that? Oh no. Hold on a second. Hey, can you stop mining here? Yeah, you. Don't do that. I'm trying to do a podcast. Stop mining. I know Bitcoin is awesome. Stop. Okay. Enough with that segment, as very silly as it sounds. Today we're going to be talking about mining, but not the mining where you go underground in a dark and deep cavern and you have to use a pickaxe, but the kind where you use GPUs, ASICs, and CPUs to produce blocks for a particular cryptocurrency. Before I begin, I have to do the usual disclaimer, so please don't make those faces. I know you're making them right now. Everything said in this show does not constitute financial advice in any way or form. All the opinions expressed are entirely my own, and none are to be associated with my employer, 𝕄𝕚𝕟𝕚𝕟. That being said, I am thankful they have given me the chance to do this show. So, if you want to support me, if you want to support them, please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and leave it a review. Also, you could head over to the website www.amun.com to check out the 2 tokens that we offer, DFI and DMX. There's also something I want you guys to know is really exciting. We are going to be launching a Polygon ecosystem token, PICO, that's the preliminary name, at some point in October. Keep an eye out on our social media to be able to jump in when it launches. It gives exposure to some of the awesome, exciting, thrilling projects in the Polygon ecosystem. But before I ramble on too much, let's get into mining. So, the topic of today's show is taking a pickaxe to that Bitcoin. So we're going to be talking about mining in general, and I will mention a few things about Bitcoin mining, but mostly we're going to be talking about Ethereum mining in general, because that is the most accessible form of mining that is today. Are you ready for it? Well, today's topic is going to assume that you know what crypto is, you know what cryptocurrency is, you know about Bitcoin, Ethereum, proof of work, proof of stake. If you don't know about any of this stuff, you could always email me, Crin, C-R-I-N, @amun.com. You could always Google this yourself or do some research. There's loads of really, really good content available on YouTube, on the web itself. So first of all, what is cryptocurrency mining? But before I do that, what I'm going to do is the same thing I did when I did the last solo video, is I'm going to make this window smaller over here, so you guys get to watch the video that I made. Not I made. This is from Binance Academy, and thanks to them for allowing me to use the video. This is just basically what is cryptocurrency mining. So if you're on YouTube, you're lucky you get to watch this. If you're on the podcast, I would suggest you go to YouTube or you go to Binance Academy themselves and watch the video over here. So I'm going to talk over the video if you're on YouTube, so you get to watch the video and listen to what I'm saying. So of course we could talk about the first question, like what is cryptocurrency mining? So in a nutshell, cryptocurrency mining is a term that refers to the process of gathering cryptocurrency as a reward for work that you complete. This is known as Bitcoin mining when talking about Bitcoin specifically, or Ethereum mining. But why do people crypto mine? For some, they're looking for another source of income. For others, it's about gaining greater financial freedom without governments or banks butting in. But whatever the reason, cryptocurrencies are a growing area of interest for technophiles, investors, and cyber criminals alike. Is crypto mining legal? So in general, the answer is yes. I'm not a lawyer. Please remember that. To determine whether crypto mining is legal or illegal primarily depends on two key considerations: your location, whether you mine crypto legally. However, where you start to trade into territory of illegal activities is when you use illicit means to mine cryptocurrencies. For example, you guys have read about it: malware, ransomware, things where people put stuff onto your computer, even sometimes mobile devices, and basically they can use that to mine cryptocurrency. This, of course, is illegal because when they put this stuff on those devices, they're not getting your permission. Now, of course, there are loads of countries where cryptocurrency mining is illegal. China is one of them. Iran is one of them. Basically, countries where there's a power problem, cryptocurrency mining is generally illegal because, of course, it uses power. Moving on to the next point, how does crypto mining work? So I'm going over this in a very, very, very simple way. So please bear with me. If you're an expert, I'm making these videos just like the last podcast that I did or the video that I did is to the average person who's heard about cryptocurrency mining, who's like, I want to earn some extra money. I want to know what my friend is doing. Why is my friend doing this? In a nutshell, crypto miners verify the legitimacy of transactions in order to reap the rewards of their work in the form of cryptocurrencies. In very, very rough detail, here are the steps. Nodes verify transactions are legitimate. Step 2 is they separate transactions are added to a list of other transactions to form a block. Step 3, a hash and other types of data are added to the unconfirmed block. Step 4, like miners like myself, verify the block's hash to ensure that the block is legitimate. Step 5, once the block is confirmed and the block gets published onto the blockchain. Okay, that is enough explanation. Again, go do your own research, dig in more if you want to know more. So if you're like me, you're waiting for me to tell you how to get into mining. So getting into mining is actually pretty easy on the hardware side. The software side is another story altogether. But what I'm going to do is you need to remember that your costs and profit are highly dependable on your location. So if you guys don't know, while 𝕤𝕚𝕟 tokens is in York and in Zurich, I am in Taiwan. So today, all the costs and profit and numbers you might hear generally refer to Taiwanese numbers. I am going to give you your own resources where you can do your own research and figure out what are the numbers for your specific location. Today, I'm only going to be talking about GPU mining because that is what I have experience with. I understand the other common form of mining, which is ASIC mining, which is usually when you see crypto mining on the news or in videos, you see loads of machines and they look like sort of square or rectangular boxes with what looks like a fan on the end. These are ASIC miners, and ASIC miners generally are used for mining Bitcoin. They can be used to mine Ethereum and Litecoin and Dogecoin as well, but I would definitely say the most popular form of ASIC mining is Bitcoin mining, because that is the only way you can earn Bitcoin on your own at a significant profit. There is another way to earn Bitcoin, which is using a service called NiceHash. So NiceHash, basically what they do is they sell your mining power and they will pay you in Bitcoin. I've used them before. They work pretty well. If you're interested in me doing a video about NiceHash, let me know. I can do a video and do another podcast where we just talk about NiceHash, how you sign up, how does NiceHash work, the platform, because NiceHash has changed a lot. I used NiceHash probably for the first time 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. But anyway, we're going to go back to GPU mining. So the first thing I would suggest you do is to not mine on your main PC. So in my house at the moment, I have 1, 2, 3 PCs. One is my partner's PC, one is my PC, and one is the PC we used to mine on. The reason I'm telling you not to mine on your main PC is very, very, very simple, is just because mining produces a lot of heat. So I'm going to switch pictures now because you guys have watched this video probably 2 or 3 times. So we're going to talk about GPU mining. So if you're watching the video or you're listening to the podcast, I'm showing everyone a picture of a computer. Inside is 3, 6, 8 graphics cards. That would probably be making a fair, decent amount of mining. As I was saying before, mining produces a lot of heat. So if you're mining with your main PC, what is going to happen is you will reduce the lifetime of your PC. So if you're a gamer like me, if you're mining and gaming at the same time, maybe your graphics card would go from lasting 5 years to lasting 2 years or maybe even 3 years. If you're not mining or gaming, but you're still just using this regularly, you still don't want to do that because lots of things can go wrong when you're mining, and you don't want anything to go wrong after all. You pay a lot of money for this sort of stuff. So build yourself another PC. You don't have to build one like this with 7 cards. You can go really simple to start off, so you're minimizing the amount of money you put in. And if you feel comfortable, if your partner, if your kids are okay, you can expand later on. So let's take this as a basic system. So what you're going to get a motherboard, you're going to get a CPU, you're going to get some RAM, and you're going to get a very good power supply. And you can start off with 1 graphics card. That's all you're going to get. And after you've got all that stuff, you're pretty much ready. Then you're going to have to decide on the software. There's loads of different software you can use. There are some easy solutions, but I will mention those in the tips. You can research yourself what is the best way to mining. You can do it on Windows. Windows is pretty good, but you still have to pay for a version of Windows, which eats up costs. I don't mine on Windows. I mine on... There are 2 kinds of mining softwares. One is called HiveOS. One is called MinerStat. One is called... Actually, NiceHash has their own OS as well. Basically what it is OS you put on USB, you plug it in, and you connect to that PC from your main PC, and that's how you start mining. So you don't need to do it on Windows. If you feel comfortable with Windows though, because Windows is the easy way, you can definitely do that. That is something you'll have to compute into your costs when you start mining. All right, so let's move on for that. Once you are done, building this sort of system up, I also wanted to show you guys like a cool PC. So when you are mining, I'm going to talk about this later, so maybe we'll come back to this actually, let's go back and let's talk about what you want to do, which is go to a website, nicehashos.com. So I actually did not include this source in there. I knew I forgot something today, so I did not include this at all, which is terrible. Oh, but you guys get to see it over here. Okay, wonderful. And I'm going to put that to the back. And let's expand this window over here. You guys get to see it nice and clear. So again, apologize for the wait. So what you're looking at is whattomine.com. It is a popular site for miners like myself, or if you want to get into mining. So if you look at the website, forget about the adverts. You're going to see a bunch of things on the top, which I can highlight them over here. But basically what they are graphics cards. What you're going to do is you're going to choose your graphics card setup. You don't want to change this where it says 480s because that is the comparison. So I'll give you guys an example. I have one 1080 over here, and my 1080 is not showed as well. These show all these new cards. Let's see. So I'm going to choose custom, and for custom I have to sign in. All right, then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do there's more choices over here. Okay. So my 1660S, I have one of those. I have a 1080 GTX. Put that over there. Okay, and I'm gonna put my power cost. So this is in American dollars as well. So in Taiwan, my power cost is 0.04 cents. In summer, it's higher, but this year because of COVID, the rate is this is just the rate. I'm gonna click calculate. All right, so after you calculate, you get to see your revenue or profit in a day. So after electricity costs, if I'm mining Ethereum, which is the number 2 cryptocurrency in the world, I'm making $5.66 per day. Now, as someone who's been mining for a good 5 years, this is a theoretical mining profit. This means if your cards are optimized, if they're running efficiently, if you've overclocked them, this is what you're making. I think at the moment in my house, I'm making like $4.62 per day. So this is what you'll be making per day. This is, of course, not including the money you spent to build your machine. And I think roughly now, if you can find a graphics card at MSRP, you could build a miner for $600 US dollars. So you would earn that money back in 120 days. In 4 months, let's say 5 months, you've made enough money to cover the cost of machine, and any money you make after that is just profit, which is pretty good. I mentioned this in the script for today, is that if you guys have listened to the podcast and listened to previous episodes, you would know that Ethereum is moving from proof of work to proof of stake. So what that means is you will not be able to most likely not be able to mine Ethereum come 2022. So if you're not going to be able to mine Ethereum, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to switch to something like ERG or Ergo, or you're going to have to switch to Raven coin, or you're going to have to switch to Ethereum Classic. Those are pretty much your options in the top 5 currencies you can mine. So that means you're going to be earning much less money. But I mean, you're still earning money for, hopefully you have cheap electricity costs and even cheaper hardware costs in the place that you live. Okay, so I'm just going back to look at the script while I'm doing this. So I've talked about what to mine and cards and algorithms. You have to decide what is the best algorithm for you to use. If you don't want to choose, you can just sell your hashing power to NiceHash and they will pay you in Bitcoin, like I mentioned before. Here are some tips I wanted to touch on. Okay, keep your miner cool. I think I showed this picture already for a few seconds, because if your miner gets hot, it could explode, bad things could happen. Explode is probably not going to happen. What happens is your miner will just shut. One thing I learned as well in my time mining, you don't need to turn your miner off. Even in a hot country like Taiwan, you can see me sweating right here because I have not turned on the AC at all. It'll only increase the life of it incrementally. Just keep it running, go 24/7 as much as you can until your GPUs die. Part C is, just because your motherboard has a single slot, a single PCI Express slot, doesn't mean you're limited to one GPU. I have a micro ATX motherboard in my miner, but what we've used is something called a riser, which expands your motherboard significantly. You could go up to 8, 12, 16 cards, again depending on your knowledge of hardware. Alright, the next point I want to highlight is GPUs need reliable power. Don't skimp on your power supply. I have, as I showed you before, a GTX 1080, and I have my 1660 Super, and I have an 800 watt power supply just because the power in this apartment is very erratic and my power supply has to compensate for that, because if my GPUs lose power, my miner will stop or something else significantly bad could happen. Once you start to mine more, once you expand your miners, once you maybe have 2 systems or 3 systems or 4 systems, you might want to start using HiveOS or Minerstat like I mentioned. Just because, like, you don't need to spend money on a hard drive as well, that's very useful, but they allow you to mine, to manage multiple systems on your phone, wherever you are. You can check how is the miner doing, you can restart the systems, you can, if there's any issues, you can just manage it mobilely if you're working like I am. Okay, so that is it for mining, and that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this part of the show. I can't believe I talked for 17 minutes specifically about mining. But if you have any other questions, I already mentioned my email. I'm not going to keep plugging that. You can also reach out to 𝕬𝕠𝕚𝕟𝕚 on their social media, and you can ask me questions there. And you can also, there's usually a way to contact me on the show notes as well if you have questions about mining. And I'll be happy to do another video or do more videos to talk about how to mine Ethereum, how to mine Bitcoin, how to mine Ergo or Raven. I mean, the way to mine them is all similar. How you might set up your miner might be a little bit different, but that is about it. So before we move on to the next thing, let's go on to let's talk about the news, right? And before we talk about the news, we've got to play my favorite sound, which is the news sound. We are now in my favorite segment, which, because I love talking about this, I love reading the news. I'm always a person who gobbles up things on the BBC, gobbles up things on Apple News, on Google News. Today we've got 5 news stories as well as a special story from Amun Tokens and 21 Shares, but I will share that later on. First, let's look at the market. Okay, I was going to show you guys HiveOS, but we're going to skip that. So the market at the moment, Bitcoin is sitting at 42,000. The market was doing pretty good today. It was at 45,000 earlier on. Ethereum is down from 3,100 earlier today to 2,800. Pretty much, you know, the usual thing. I've talked about this in episode 7. Because Bitcoin is dominant, it sees right here on the top of CoinMarketCap, right? Bitcoin 42.6% dominant, Ethereum 18.1%. When these two go down, they take the market with it. Of course, Tether is not down because Tether is pegged to the US dollar, but everything else is going down except stablecoins. Even Avalanche is going down as well. So market is going down. Don't worry, don't panic, even though I tend to panic about this sort of stuff sometimes. But let's go on to the first bit of news. The first bit of news is from Reuters. It was published September 24th, 2021, 8:07 a.m. CST. Don't forget, all the links for the news will be in the show notes. It says Twitter rolls out Bitcoin tipping safety features in product push. I was so excited when I read this. I tried to look on my Twitter today to see if I had the option to list my Bitcoin wallet, but of course not. I would imagine this is rolled out for people living in America. Let me read you some parts of this and then we'll talk about it. Twitter will allow people to tip their favorite content creators with Bitcoin and will launch a fund to pay some users who host audio chat room on its Spaces feature, the company said on Thursday. The San Francisco-based company added it will test new ways to help users have a safer experience on Twitter, such as warning when people are entering a heated conversation or letting them leave tweet threads. The product announcements are part of Twitter's effort to compete with rival platforms like Facebook and Alphabet's Google, YouTube, or popular content creators with large followings, and turn around its image as a site where polarized discussions can fester. If you want to read the article again, it is in the show notes. I think this is fantastic news just because Twitter is cool. And Jack Dorsey, if you guys don't know, he is a big Bitcoin fan. He holds Bitcoin. He always pushes Bitcoin. And he said Twitter was going to get involved with Bitcoin. Twitter also owns Square, and Square is making a hardware wallet, if I'm not mistaken. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong about that. That's exciting. I think Twitter is going to do a lot more with Bitcoin, and it makes it easier. Like, I would love to tip my favorite creators, but connecting my credit card or debit card to Twitter is something I would feel not safe with. But tipping with Bitcoin definitely is much safer, much more secure. My wallets, wallets have safe features. I have a security key, right? I just bought another one. That basically means you cannot access my wallet unless you have this security key. And the only way to get that security key is to break into my house and steal it, which is not going to happen because Taiwan is a safe place. So what do you guys think about Twitter? What is the next step? So after they launch tipping, what do you guys expect is going to happen? Are they going to integrate wallets into Twitter in the sense that you can not just tip creators? If I wanted to send money to my brother or my younger brother through Twitter, would I be able to do that? I think that might even be something that Twitter is considering for the future. Okay, and that is the Twitter story. So we are moving on to the Mark Cuban story. So Mark Cuban on why DeFi will disrupt banks. Some industries are change adverse. Okay, so let's read the beginning as usual, and then I'll give you my quick take. Billionaire investor Mark Cuban is bullish on the growth of DeFi or decentralized finance applications and thinks that they will pose a challenge to traditional banks. To him, the foundational DeFi benefit is that it simplifies the borrowing for personal purposes. Cuban tweeted on Thursday in response to a debate about DeFi. It's a hassle to borrow money from a bank, he said, and DeFi allows anyone with funds to be a lender as well. I mean, we've seen this week when it comes to the news, when it comes to basically worldwide news, is places are cracking down on crypto, on lending. I just saw the news today. I should have put that is Kentucky, a state in America, has decided to tell Celsius, which is a big lending company, to stop their lending products in Kentucky. And this is like the 4th state in America to do that. So that kind of sucks for people living in America. So yeah, banks, of course, banks are adverse to change. I mean, not just banks, lots of industries don't like to change. When you think about, let's talk about BlackBerry, right? Everyone had a BlackBerry, 20 years ago. And BlackBerry saw the iPhone come out and they're like, I don't think this is going to be a thing. And of course, the iPhone, and the way the iPhone was designed and smartphones in general, the way they evolved became a thing. And BlackBerry exists today, but it's not the same company it was 20 years ago. And again, because they were adverse to change. And I could even say that is the same for banking today. Loads of banks are afraid of crypto. I'm very lucky. I spoke to my bank here in Taiwan a few weeks ago and I asked them, can I buy crypto? And the guy was like, no, we don't allow that. I'm like, that sucks. So one of my banks that I bank with right now, they're pretty cool about it. I saw another story on Reddit the other day. A guy banks with Rabobank in the Netherlands and they told him, stop doing crypto transactions, otherwise we're going to shut down your account. I mean, that's terrible. I mean, that's this guy's decision, what he wants to do with his money. But I would say a lot of banks are scared. And I think the banks that embrace what is happening are going to be the ones that do well. I can think of a lot of fintech banks like Line Bank here in Taiwan, like N26 out in Europe, like Revolut as well. I think these guys are going to be the ones who do well because they embrace crypto. Let's move on to the third story for today. The third story is, if you don't know, 𝕂𝕠𝕝's sister company is 21 Shares. They released a magazine today. It is the 4th issue. Reviews what has happened in crypto in Q2. What I'm going to do is, this is a long document, so I'm not going to show you guys everything. I'm going to take you guys all the way to page 24, where it talks about the future of Ethereum and maybe read you some interesting parts about that. Is that page 23 or 24? This is 24. This is not 24. I thought it was page 24. There it is. On page 24, so this, if you want to read this, the link to this document will be there. You can download it. It's free. If you like it, you could visit 21 Shares. You can visit 𝕂𝕚𝕟 as well to learn more about the products that we have. This talks about proof of stake. It talks about sharding. It talks about phase 0. It talks about phase 1, which is what I talked about earlier in this podcast episode, which is called the merge, when the proof of work chain and the beacon chain will become one proof of stake chain. When the merge occurs, likely in Q4 2021, the current proof of work chain will be fully deprecated and all blocks on Ethereum will be produced via proof of stake. Phase 2 will introduce sharding to the existing proof of stake, which will help significantly scale Ethereum 2.0. The Ethereum blockchain will be separated into 64 separate chains, then run concurrently and increase the amount of information that can be stored in Ethereum 2.0. Phase 3 is the point at which both sharding and proof of stake are fully implemented and users can carry out full transactions and engage with smart contracts in a scalable manner, built on top of an environmentally friendly blockchain. So I'm going to leave this here while I talk for a little bit. So if you guys don't know, I've complained about this as well, and we'll talk about this in the next news segment, that doing stuff on Ethereum is expensive. I am trying to buy some ₍ tokens because I have some funds in ₍, and paying $28 or 30, I think gas was $35 to buy $20 in ₍ tokens, which is ridiculous. The gas fees are more expensive than tokens I want to buy. But what these scaling solutions hope to do is to decrease the price of gas, because right now, Ethereum doesn't do a lot of transactions. So because it doesn't do a lot of transactions, gas fees are high. So if you want to get something done on Ethereum, you got to pay gas. So this happens next year. I mean, I'll be happy because I'm an Ethereum miner at heart, and I want Ethereum to be as successful as possible. And I think at the moment, what is going on with Ethereum, with the high gas fees, with NFTs, is just providing fuel to the fire for other blockchains like Solana, like Cardano, like Cosmos, like Luna. And that's not good as well. I mean, I don't think there's going to be an Ethereum killer, as much as people like to throw that phrase around. But yeah, this is good, and a fantastic report done by the 21 Shares and 𝕂𝕚𝕟 team. I would like to congratulate them. I should have done like a clapping sound effect, and I only thought about this now as I'm talking about it. All right, so let's move on to the fourth news item for today. The fourth news item for today is entitled, "The NFT on-ramp is still too steep." This is from TechCrunch, published by Alex Wilhelm at 10:53 GMT on September 22nd. I'll read this. It says, "Years and years ago, to get a better handle on the then nascent crypto economy, I bought some Bitcoin, about $50 worth. If memory serves, then I moved to BTCE, at which point I bought some random coins to see how that would go. BTCE eventually closed after a massive money laundering fine. So I presume that whatever coins I bought back then are lost to the void. That's why I haven't had any disclosures in anything I've written about crypto since. I don't own any that I can access, which is the same thing as not owning any crypto at all." Alright, this is just this guy's disclaimer. "To get into the NFT game, I opened a Coinbase account on about $50 worth of Ether. My goal was not to buy lots of crypto, but to use it to purchase NFTs and reap stunk like. I just wanted to run the process and figured I could find some sort of unloved NFT for $50 worth of Ethereum. I even considered buying a piece from an artist I like, whose physical art I own and who makes NFTs. So I moved the funds from Coinbase to NFT market owns OpenSea, where I also had a wallet. The exact linkage between OpenSea and MetaMask wasn't 100% clear during the process, but hey, I'm here for a good time, so I rolled. Sadly, the fees from Coinbase and transferring my pittance of Ether quickly ate into my crypto wealth." So this goes back to what I said. Gas fees suck. I tried to buy an NFT on OpenSea, and I mentioned this on a previous episode. And a $15 NFT cost $45 in gas fees, which is just, it sucks. I'm an Indian person. I like good deals. I'm not going to pay $45 for a $15 NFT, which is why I went to Cardano and bought NFT, because gas fees are cheap on Cardano. And I think that is where Ethereum is failing people like me and failing new people entering cryptocurrency. A really, really cool article. You should definitely read the whole thing. I've already read it. Let's go on to the last story of today. The last story of today is actually wrong because you guys saw CoinMarketCap a few seconds ago. This is something I prepared earlier on in the day. Altcoins surge as crypto market regains steam. AVAX climbs 24% to record $79.58. The crypto market is bouncing alongside equities Thursday, a day after the Federal Reserve announced monetary policy in the US is about to become a lot tighter. While Bitcoin and Ether are trading 1% higher over the past 24 hours, prominent alternative cryptocurrencies like ADA, SOL, and Luna are up 6 and 25% respectively. AVAX, the native token of the Avalanche open source platform, added 24% to the record of $79.58 per AVAX, according to the data from Sari. Okay, so we know that is not true, but I mean, crypto had this big sort of crash last week. Probably last week. My time is really bad. And then it's come back and then it's gone down a little bit today. But it looks like, let's go back to CoinMarketCap and see how things are doing. So the market is pretty stable. Let's refresh. Oh no, I take it back. It's down to 41,000. It looks okay for the moment. I mean, but things are okay. So, I mean, again, this is not financial advice. I don't know what's going to happen with any of this stuff. From what I've read, and again, this is not my opinion, people are still expecting things to get better in October, November, and December. People have posted like historical data that crypto usually does bad in September. So we're almost towards October and maybe things will start picking up then. But lots of stuff is happening when it comes to regulation in the US, regulation in other countries. China is still looking for, hidden Bitcoin miners. We're going to have to wait and see what happens, and then just take it from there. This is it for today's show. I hope you guys liked it. I had fun. I mean, I always have fun when I'm on my own. I get to use special effects, and I improved video quality today as well. So if you don't get to watch the video, you'll be able to see everything very crystal clear because I am recording in 4K resolution at the moment. And before I used to scale it down, but we should not be talking about podcasting stuff towards the end of the show. Let me go down and let me read the end stuff. That's all I have time for today. I thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for downloading and sharing the episode. Please don't forget to follow us on social media. Twitter @𝕚𝕟, AMUN, Telegram @𝕚𝕟𝕠𝕚𝕟, or stop by Discord and join in the conversation. We're also on Reddit @𝕚𝕚𝕠𝕚𝕟. You can message me there directly. You can join the Reddit subreddit 𝕚𝕚𝕠𝕚𝕟. Also, please, I mentioned this already, please leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. This really does help with exposure and boosts availability for the podcast in various regions. Again, if you want to jump into Telegram or Discord, me and community manager David are always there. I'm available like in nighttime in America and in the morning time in America, and David is in Europe, so he covers a bit of both. So if you're looking for people to talk to, we're always there. And we love that you guys are enjoying the podcast. And keep an eye out for next week. Next week, potentially, we could have 2 to 3 podcast episodes in the week. Today, we were supposed to get on someone from Research Kareem, but he was not feeling well. So we might do 2 episodes. You guys might be in for a double whammy next week. We'll just see how it goes. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for being here and enjoying the video and enjoying my high definition podcast today. And we will talk to you guys sometime next week. Bye-bye.